Captain Haiyan Taiyang stood on the bridge of the Aurora station, watching the light show in the distance. Explosions bloomed like flowers against the black canvas of space. Ships larger than mountains tore each other apart near the edge of the solar system. The war had finally reached Earth's doorstep. "Sir, they're getting closer," Lieutenant Park Hannah said from her station. Her voice was steady, but Taiyang could hear the tension underneath. "Should we send another warning?" Taiyang shook his head. "We've sent 12 warnings already. They don't care." The war had been going on for 15 years. Two massive groups of aliens fought across the galaxy. The Axiom Collective controlled the northern spiral arm. The Dominion Front ruled the south. Thousands of planets were caught between them. Millions died every day. And Earth had stayed out of it all. Earth's leaders had decided long ago that this wasn't humanity's fight. "Let the aliens destroy each other," they said. Earth would remain neutral, safe behind its orbital defenses. Taiyang had agreed at first. Now he wasn't so sure. Down on the moon, Dr. Kim Nari was having similar thoughts. She worked in the Lunar Research Facility, studying the debris that fell from alien battles. Pieces of destroyed ships rained down on the moon regularly now. Each fragment told a story. Nari held up a piece of alien metal, scanning it with her equipment. The readings made her frown. This armor had been designed to withstand incredible heat and pressure. But it had one weakness. The aliens who made it didn't care if their weapons destroyed planets. They only cared about killing each other. "Dr. Kim," her assistant called out. "You should see this." Nari walked over to the main screen. Her assistant had pulled up data from the latest battle. The energy readings were enormous. If a weapon like that hit Earth, it would crack the planet's crust. Millions would die in seconds. "Send this to Admiral Choi," Nari said quietly. "He needs to know what we're dealing with." Admiral Choi Daeho sat in the command center deep beneath Earth's surface. He was reading Nari's report when the politicians called for another meeting. He knew what they would say before they said it. "Admiral, we cannot get involved," the council leader said firmly. "Earth must remain neutral. This is not our war." "With respect," Daeho replied, "the war doesn't care about our neutrality. They're fighting in our backyard now. Then we strengthen our defenses. We don't start shooting at aliens who haven't attacked us directly." Daeho wanted to argue more, but he knew it was useless. The council had made up their minds years ago. Earth would stay out of the war no matter what. The next day, everything changed. A ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. It was massive, shaped like a curved blade. And it carried the marks of the Dominion Front. Taiyang immediately ordered his crews to battle stations. "This is Captain Haiyan Taiyang of United Earth Defense," he broadcast on all frequencies. "You are in violation of our territory. Leave immediately." The alien ship responded. A holographic figure appeared on the Aurora's main screen. It looked almost human, but its skin was silver and its eyes were pure black. "I am Commander Velas of the Dominion Front," the alien said. Its voice was translated by computer, sounding cold and mechanical. "We offer Earth protection. Join us, and we will keep you safe from the Axiom Collective." "We don't need your protection," Taiyang said flatly. "We need you to leave our system." The alien laughed. "You misunderstand. This is not a request for alliance. This is an offer of mercy. Give us access to your resources and industrial capacity, and we will spare your planet when we win this war." Taiyang felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "I'll say this once more. Leave, now." "Very well," Vela said. "When your planet burns, remember that you were offered a choice." The Dominion ship turned and jumped away, disappearing in a flash of twisted light. Hannah let out a breath she'd been holding. "Sir, do you think they'll come back?" "Yes," Taiyang said. "And they won't come alone next time?" He was right. 3 days later, a massive battle erupted near Jupiter. The Axiom Collective had been chasing a Dominion fleet for weeks. They caught them in Earth's solar system and didn't care about asking permission. Dozens of ships fought each other with weapons that could melt moons. Energy beams cut through the darkness. Missiles the size of buildings exploded in brilliant colors. And Earth could only watch. Admiral Deho tried to contact both sides. They ignored him. He sent warning messages. They were deleted without being read. To the aliens, humanity was like ants trying to stop elephants from fighting. Then the debris started falling. Chunks of destroyed alien ships, still burning hot from battle, rained down on the moon colonies. The defensive shields held at first, but there was too much debris. A piece the size of a house punched through the dome of Colony 7. Alarms screamed. Air rushed out into space. People scrambled for emergency suits, but not everyone made it in time. When the final count came in, 300 people were dead. Children, scientists, engineers, families. I was one of the first responders. She helped pull survivors from the wreckage, her hands shaking as she worked. She saw things that would give her nightmares for years. A child's toy floating in the vacuum. A wedding ring on a severed hand. A photo of Earth, torn and burned. When Taiyang heard the news, he stood alone in his quarters and stared at Earth below. The blue and green planet looked so peaceful from up here. But he knew that peace was an illusion. The war had killed Earth citizens now. 300 people who had nothing to do with alien conflicts were dead. He called Admiral Deho on a secure channel. Sir, we need to respond. I know, Deho said. His voice sounded tired. I've called for an emergency council meeting. But you know what they'll say? They'll say it was an accident. That we should file a complaint through diplomatic channels. Exactly. Taiyang closed his eyes. How many more have to die before we stop pretending we can stay neutral? Deho had no answer. The council met the next day. They reviewed the casualties. They discussed options. They debated for hours. And in the end, they decided to do nothing. They sent formal complaints to both alien factions. They strengthened the moon's shields. They held a memorial service for the dead, but they did not fight back. Taeyang watched the memorial service from the Aurora. He saw the families crying. He saw the anger in their eyes. He saw Earth leaders promising justice that would never come. Lieutenant Hannah stood beside him, also watching. Sir, this isn't right. No, Taiyang agreed. It's not, so what do we do? Taiyang didn't answer right away. He thought about the 300 dead. He thought about Nari's reports showing weapons that could destroy Earth. He thought about how the aliens laughed at humanity's warnings. We wait, he finally said. We prepare. And when the time comes, we make sure they regret underestimating us. In the distance, another battle lit up the darkness of space. The war continued and Earth remained on the sidelines. But deep in their hearts, many humans knew this couldn't last. Something would break eventually. The only question was, what would break first? Earth's neutrality or Earth itself? 2 months passed since the moon colony disaster. Earth had mourned its dead and tried to return to normal life. But normal was becoming harder to find. Engineer Li Yuan worked in the Seoul shipyards, building defensive satellites for Earth's orbital network. She was good at her job, maybe too good. Her designs were efficient and cheap to produce. But lately she'd been thinking about different designs. Weapons, real weapons. She kept these thoughts to herself. Earth didn't build warships. That would mean admitting they might need to fight someday. The politicians preferred to pretend that day would never come. Jiwan was working late when the news broke. The Axiom Collective had issued a statement to Earth. They needed to use the solar system as a shortcut. Their fleets would be passing through regularly from now on. Earth's permission was not required. Ambassador Yunbora responded immediately. She was Earth's chief diplomat, skilled at finding peaceful solutions. She sent a formal message to the Axiom Collective. The solar system was sovereign human territory. No military vessels would be allowed passage without permission. The Axiom response came 24 hours later. They landed a base on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, and started building a military outpost. They didn't ask. They didn't negotiate. They simply took what they wanted. Admiral Deho called Captain Taiyang to his office. I need you to go to Europa, Deho said. Take a squadron. Talk to them. Make them understand this is our territory. And if they refuse to listen? Tiang asked. Then we'll deal with that when it happens. But no shooting. Not yet. We're not at war. Tiang assembled 6 ships and headed to Europa. The journey took 3 days. When they arrived, the Axiom base was already operational. Tall spires rose from the icy surface, pulsing with blue energy. Dozens of alien ships orbited the moon. This is Captain Haiyan Taiyang of United Earth Defense, he broadcast. You are occupying our territory without permission. We request immediate withdrawal. An alien appeared on screen. It was different from the Dominion commander Taiyang had met before. This one had green skin and 4 arms. Its face was covered in glowing symbols. I am Base Commander Torix, it said. Your request is denied? This moon is strategically necessary for our operations. You may file a complaint with the Galactic Council if you wish. We don't recognize your Galactic Council, Taiyang replied. This is our solar system. Leave now, or we will remove you. The alien made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. Captain Taiyang, I have scanned your vessels. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are obsolete. If you attack this base, we will destroy every ship you have in less than 10 minutes. Then we will file our own complaint about your aggression. Now leave us alone. We have important work to do. The transmission ended. Lieutenant Hannah looked at Taiyang, waiting for orders. Sir? Tiang wanted to fight. Every fiber of his being screamed to attack these arrogant aliens who treated humans like children. But he had his orders. No war. Not yet. Take us home, he said quietly. But keep scanning their base. I want to know everything about it. While Taiyang dealt with the Axiom, Dr. Nari was making discoveries on the moon. She'd been studying alien technology for months, and she'd found something surprising. Human materials were actually better in many ways. Human steel was stronger. Human ceramics could handle more heat. Human computers processed information differently, but not worse. The aliens had more advanced engines and weapons, true. But their basic construction was wasteful and overbuilt. They made everything massive and powerful because they could, not because they needed to, Nari shared her findings with Jiwan. The engineer's eyes lit up as she read the reports. Do you know what this means? Jiwan asked. We could build better ships. Faster ships? Cheaper ships. If we were building warships, Nari said carefully. Which we're not. No, of course not. Yuan smiled slightly. But if we were, I have some ideas. She showed Nari her secret designs. Ships built for speed instead of armor. Ships that worked in groups like Wolf packs. Ships that could hit hard and run away before the enemy responded. Nothing like the massive alien battleships. These are brilliant, Nari said. Have you shown them to anyone? Who would I show them to? The council would never approve building these. Show Admiral Deho, he'll understand. While they were talking, Sergeant Kong Soman was on duty at the Mars Defense Outpost. It was supposed to be a quiet assignment. She spent most of her time training and maintaining equipment that never got used. Until today, alarms blared across the base. Soman ran to her station and pulled up the sensors. Her blood went cold. A Dominion fleet had appeared in orbit around Mars. They were fighting with the Axiom base on Europa, and they didn't care that human colonies were in the crossfire. All personnel, battle stations! The base commander shouted. Activate shields and get civilians into bunkers. Soman helped evacuate a school near the base. Children crying, parents screaming, everyone terrified. The Dominion ships were firing missiles at the Axiom base. Some of those missiles were missing their targets and hitting Mars instead. The first impact shook the ground like an earthquake. Soman saw a flash of light on the horizon. When the mushroom cloud cleared, an entire colony was gone. 20,000 people had lived there. Now it was just a crater. More missiles fell. The Dominion fleet was trying to destroy the Axiom base, and they were using Mars as a shooting range. Human bases, human colonies, human lives meant nothing to them. Soman's commanding officer tried to contact both fleets. He begged them to stop, to take their fight somewhere else. They ignored him completely. The battle continued for 6 hours. When it finally ended, the Axiom base was damaged but still standing. The Dominion fleet had retreated, and 50,000 humans were dead. Most of them were children in the orbital habitats around Mars. The habitats had been clearly marked as civilian structures. The Dominion had targeted them anyway. The news reached Earth within minutes. Jiwan was in Admiral Deho's office presenting her warship designs when the reports came in. The Admiral's face turned pale as he read the casualty numbers. 50,000, he whispered. They killed 50,000 of us on purpose. Sir, what do we do? Jiwan asked. Deho looked at her designs spread across his desk. Ships built for war. Ships that could fight back. Ships that could make the aliens regret what they'd done. Send these to every shipyard on Earth, he said. Start production immediately. But sir, the Council hasn't authorized. I don't care. Deho slammed his fist on the desk. 50,000 people are dead. 300 more died on the moon before that. How many more must die before we're allowed to defend ourselves? He took a deep breath and calmed himself. I'm calling an emergency council session. This time they'll have to listen. The council met within hours. Every member had seen the footage from Mars, crying parents holding dead children. Rescue workers pulling bodies from rubble. Entire families wiped out in seconds. The images were everywhere. Earth's population was demanding action. Ambassador Bora presented 3 options to the council. Option 1. We submit to either the Axiom or Dominion, accepting protection from one side. The council immediately rejected this. Earth would not become anyone's puppet. Option 2. We maintain neutrality and strengthen our defenses, hoping the war ends before more casualties occur. Several council members nodded at this. It was the safe choice, the familiar choice. Option 3. We mobilize for war. We defend our territory with military force. We make it clear that attacks on Earth will have consequences. The room fell silent. This was the choice no one wanted to make. War meant sacrifice. It meant death. It meant becoming part of the violence they had tried so hard to avoid. Admiral Deho stood up to speak. I've served Earth for 40 years, he said. I've always supported peace. I've always believed diplomacy could solve any problem. But we're not dealing with reasonable opponents. We're dealing with powers that see us as insects. They kill our people and don't even apologize. They occupy our territory and laugh when we protest. His voice grew stronger. We can hide and hope they leave us alone. But they won't. Every day this war continues, more of our people will die. We can either accept that and do nothing, or we can fight back. I say we fight. The vote took 3 hours. Council members debated, argued, and considered every angle. But in the end, the choice was clear. The images from Mars made it clear. The dead children made it clear. The vote was unanimous. Earth was going to war. The shipyards of Earth roared to life. Factories that had been building civilian vessels for decades retooled overnight. Jiwan's designs spread across the globe. Within weeks, the first warships began rolling out of production. They looked nothing like alien vessels. Where alien ships were massive and heavily armored, human ships were small and fast. Where aliens built their ships alone, humans built them in swarms. A single human destroyer was no match for an alien cruiser. But 20 human destroyers working together could tear that cruiser apart. Commander Shin Minho watched the new ships being tested in orbit. He'd been chosen to lead the Ghost Squadron, an experimental unit that would test new tactics and technologies. His ships were equipped with stealth systems designed by Dr. Nari. How's it looking? Nari asked over the comm. The stealth field is working perfectly, Minho replied. We're invisible to standard scanners. They won't see us coming. Good, because you're going to need every advantage you can get. While the military prepared, Dr. Ruhan was studying the enemy. She was a xenopsychology expert, someone who understood how aliens thought. The military had given her access to every battle recording they had of the war. She spent weeks watching the battles, taking notes, finding patterns. Finally, she called a meeting with Admiral Deho and his officers. "I've found something important," she said. "The aliens fight with honor." Several officers laughed at this. How could anyone who killed 50,000 civilians be considered honorable? "Let me explain," Hound continued. "Both the Axiom and Dominion follow strict rules of warfare. They announce their attacks. They fight in organized formations. They use weapons they consider appropriate for ship-to-ship combat. They see war as a ritual, with proper ways to fight and improper ways that bring shame. And how does this help us?" Deho asked. "Because we don't care about their honor," Hound said simply. "We can use tactics they would never consider. We can ambush them. We can run away when losing an attack when they're weak. We can target their supplies instead of their warships. Everything they consider dishonorable is a tool we can use." Captain Taiying smiled. "You're saying we fight dirty. I'm saying we fight to win." The first real battle came 3 weeks later. An Axiom patrol was passing through the asteroid belt, heading toward their base on Europa. They detected nothing unusual. Their sensors showed empty space and dead rocks. Then Taiyang's fleet attacked. 20 human destroyers appeared from behind asteroids, their weapons already firing. The Axiom ships tried to respond, but the humans weren't where the aliens expected them to be. They split into small groups, attacking from multiple angles, never staying in one place long enough to be targeted effectively. One Axiom cruiser managed to land a hit on a human destroyer, blowing it apart. But 3 more destroyers immediately focused on that cruiser, hammering it with missiles until it exploded. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it was over, 5 Axiom ships were destroyed and the rest were retreating. Earth had lost 2 destroyers. The galaxy was shocked. How had these primitive humans defeated an Axiom patrol? The battle recordings spread across the stars. Alien military experts analyzed every second. Trying to understand what happened, the Axiom Collective issued a formal complaint. Earth's tactics were dishonorable. Hiding behind asteroids was cowardly. Attacking in swarms was shameful. They demanded that humanity fight properly. Taiyang's response was broadcast on all frequencies across the galaxy. "You came to our solar system without permission. You built a military base on our moon. You killed our people and called it collateral damage. You want honor? You should have thought about that before you killed our children. There's no honor in this war. There is only survival, and we will use every tool, every tactic, and every advantage to make sure our people survive." The message went viral across alien networks. Some species were horrified by humanity's brutality. Others were inspired. Small rebellions began breaking out across the galaxy, species that had been conquered by the Axiom or Dominion seeing that the giants could be hurt. Commander Minho's Ghost Squadron struck next. They'd been shadowing a Dominion command carrier for 2 days, completely invisible to the alien sensors. The carrier was coordinating a major offensive against the Axiom. It was surrounded by escort ships, protected by layers of shields, and commanded by one of the Dominion's best admirals. Minho waited until the carrier's shields dropped for a resupply operation. Then his squadron appeared out of nowhere, already inside the defensive perimeter. They launched every missile they had at point-blank range. The command carrier tried to fight back, but it was too late. Missiles tore through its hull, detonating inside the ship. Secondary explosions ripped the massive vessel apart. By the time the escort ships realized they were under attack, the Ghost Squadron was already gone, cloaked and running. The Dominion was furious. How had humans bypassed their sensors? How had they known exactly when to attack? They accused Earth of using illegal technology, of violating the rules of warfare. Admiral Deho's response was simple: "Show me the rulebook. Show me where we agreed to fight by your rules. You can't, because we never agreed to anything. This is our war now, and we'll fight it our way." Both alien factions realized they had a serious problem. Individually, they each still vastly outnumbered Earth's forces. But fighting a two-front war while also dealing with human raiders was becoming costly. They needed humanity to join one side or the other. The Axiom Collective sent ambassadors to Earth, offering generous terms. Join us, they said, and we'll give you territory, technology, and a seat at the table when the war ends. Think of the rewards. The Dominion Front sent their own ambassadors the next day with similar offers. Join us instead, they said. The Axiom are weak and will lose. Side with the winners, Admiral Deho met with both groups separately. He listened to their offers politely. Then he made a counteroffer that stunned them both. Earth demands immediate withdrawal of all military forces from the solar system. Both of you will cease all military operations within 50 astronomical units of Earth. You will pay reparations for the humans you've killed, and you will recognize Earth's sovereignty over this entire region of space. The alien ambassadors were speechless. Then they started laughing. You can't be serious, the Axiom ambassador said. You have a few hundred ships. We have millions. You've won a few small battles through trickery, but you cannot stand against the full might of either faction. Then let me make myself clear, Deho said. His voice was cold and hard. If you refuse our terms, Earth will wage war on both of you simultaneously. We will not fight your honorable battles. We will not attack your warships. We will destroy your supply lines. We will target your infrastructure. We will make this war so expensive, so painful, and so endless that you'll beg for peace. You're bluffing, the Dominion ambassador said, am I? Deho pressed a button. Every screen in the room lit up with the same image, human warships. Thousands of them. They were everywhere. Hiding in asteroid fields, cloaked near trade routes, positioned around key systems. A fleet that had been building in secret for months, positioned in absolute silence. These ships are already in place, Deho said. Right now, they're waiting for my signal. If you refuse our terms, they will begin operations within the hour. Every supply depot, every communication relay, every refueling station you have will become a target. You'll spend so much time protecting your logistics that you won't be able to fight each other anymore. The ambassadors looked at each other. This was insane. Earth was threatening both galactic superpowers at once. It was suicide. It was crazy. It was actually possible. You're asking us to surrender to you, the Axiom ambassador said slowly. No, I'm asking you to leave us alone and pay for what you've destroyed. That's not surrender. That's justice. And if we refuse and destroy Earth instead? Deho smiled grimly. Then you'll spend the next century trying to hunt down every human colony and outpost in the galaxy, while our fleets burn your empires to ash. We'll make sure this war never ends. Even if you destroy Earth, there are human colonies on hundreds of worlds now. They'll keep fighting, and they'll teach others to fight the way we fight. Is that what you want? The ambassadors requested time to consult with their leaders. Deho gave them 24 hours. The Axiom and Dominion both refused Earth's demands. They couldn't accept being dictated to by these upstart humans. They would crush Earth's fleet and teach humanity a lesson about respecting their superiors. Admiral Deho had expected this answer. He gave the signal. Across dozens of star systems, human ships came out of hiding. They didn't attack warships. They hit the infrastructure that kept the alien empires running. Supply depots exploded. Communication arrays went dark. Automated defense platforms were hacked and destroyed. Engineer G1 had designed special weapons for this campaign. Smart mines that looked like space debris. Viruses that infected alien computer systems. Missiles that could track and follow fleeing ships through hyperspace. The aliens had never seen warfare like this. They were used to huge fleet battles, honorable combat between warships. This was guerrilla warfare on a galactic scale. It was chaos. Within a week, both the Axiom and Dominion were struggling to keep their frontline forces supplied. The war changed overnight. For 80 years, the Axiom and Dominion had fought each other in predictable patterns. Now they were fighting an enemy they couldn't understand. Lieutenant Hannah led a raiding mission into Dominion territory. Her squadron hit a fuel depot, destroyed it, and was gone before reinforcements arrived. No heroic last stands. No honorable combat. Just cold efficiency. Target destroyed, she reported to Tai Yang. 0 casualties on our side. Good work. Return to base and prepare for your next mission. This was how Earth fought now. Quick strikes. Hit and run. Never fight fair. The aliens called it cowardly. Humans called it smart. Meanwhile, Dr. Nari had achieved a breakthrough that would change everything. She'd been studying alien faster-than-light technology, the engines that let ships jump between stars. The alien drives were powerful but inefficient. They wasted energy on safety systems and redundant backups. Nari stripped away everything unnecessary. Her new human drive was smaller, lighter, and could jump twice as far on the same amount of fuel. Even better, it could recharge faster, meaning human ships could make multiple jumps while alien ships were still preparing for one. "This is incredible," Admiral Deho said when she showed him the results. "How soon can we install these in our fleet?" "I can have retrofit kits ready in 2 weeks. Every ship in our fleet can be upgraded in a month." "Do it. This might be what wins us the war." While Nari revolutionized human travel, Sergeant Soman was leading a different kind of mission. She and her Marine unit had infiltrated a Dominion research facility. The facility was developing biological weapons, diseases designed to kill specific alien species. Soman's team planted surveillance equipment throughout the facility, recording everything. They found evidence that the Dominion had already used these weapons on civilian populations. Millions of innocent aliens had died from manufactured plagues. "We need to destroy this place," one of Soman's Marines said. "No," Soman replied. "We need the galaxy to see what the Dominion is doing." They transmitted all the evidence on open channels, broadcasting it to every inhabited system they could reach. The recordings showed Dominion scientists testing diseases on prisoners. They showed military commanders ordering plague strikes on civilian cities. They showed mass graves on a scale that made Earth's casualties look small. The galaxy was horrified. Many species that had been neutral or even supportive of the Dominion immediately cut ties. Some declared war. The Dominion's coalition began to fracture. The Axiom Collective tried to use this moment to their advantage. They launched a massive offensive against weakened Dominion positions. But humanity had a surprise for them, too. Lieutenant Hannah had captured an Axiom intelligence database during a raid. She'd brought it to Dr. Ruhan, who spent days decrypting the information. What she found was priceless. Complete details of every Axiom military position, supply route, and strategic plan. Earth could have kept this information for themselves. Instead, they shared it with the Dominion front, not as the allies, not as friends, but as chaos agents. "Let them tear each other apart with their own secrets," Hound explained to Admiral Deho. "The more they focus on each other, the less they focus on us." It worked perfectly. The Dominion used the intelligence to launch devastating counterattacks. The Axiom, realizing their security had been compromised, pulled back forces to protect vulnerable positions. Both sides became paranoid, suspecting spies and traitors everywhere. The galaxy was descending into chaos, and Earth was the eye of the storm. Human ships moved freely through regions where alien fleets were trapped by logistics problems. Human diplomats negotiated with species that had been enslaved by both factions, offering technology and support in exchange for cooperation. Captain Tang found himself commanding not just Earth ships, but a coalition of smaller species. Aliens who had suffered under the Axiom and Dominion saw humanity as liberators. They didn't care that humans fought dirty. They cared that humans won. One of these species, the Kelrath, had been conquered by the Axiom 50 years ago. When Tang's fleet arrived in their system and destroyed the Axiom occupation force, the Kelrath people welcomed them as heroes. "We will join you," the Kelrath leader said. "Our ships, our soldiers, our resources are yours." "We're not here to conquer you," Taiyang replied. "We're here to free you. Fight with us if you want, but you're your own people." This message spread. More species joined the growing coalition. The war was no longer just Axiom versus Dominion versus Earth. It was becoming a galactic revolution. Then came the Battle of Kepler Station. It was the single largest engagement of the entire war. 10,000 Axiom ships faced 8,000 Dominion. vessels around a massive space station that controlled a strategic hyperspace junction. Both sides had committed everything to this battle. Whoever won would control a crucial route through the galaxy. The battle had been raging for 3 days. When Taiyang's fleet arrived, both alien factions had lost thousands of ships. The space around Kepler Station was filled with debris and bodies, and they were still fighting. "Sir, what are your orders?" Hannah asked. "Do we attack the Axiom or the Dominion?" Taiyang looked at the carnage on his screens. So much death. So much destruction. And for what? Control of a trade route? This wasn't strategic thinking. This was madness. "We're attacking neither," he said. "Establish a defensive perimeter around the entire battle zone. Nothing gets in or out, sir." "You heard me. Blockade both fleets. If they want to keep killing each other, they'll have to go through us first." It was an insane plan. Earth's fleet was outnumbered 30-1. But Taiyang was counting on something. Both alien fleets were exhausted, low on ammunition, and desperate to disengage. They'd been fighting for 3 days straight. Their crews were tired. Their ships were damaged. He opened a channel to both sides simultaneously. "This is Captain Haiyan Taiyang of United Earth Defense. This battle is over. Both fleets will stand down immediately and begin peace negotiations, or you will fight your way through our blockade. Choose now." The Axiom commander responded first. "You cannot be serious. We will destroy your ships in minutes." "Maybe, but while you're destroying us, the Dominion will destroy you. And vice versa. You're both at your limit. You know it, and I know it. So stop wasting lives and start talking." There was a long silence. Taiyang could see both fleets repositioning, trying to decide what to do. Attack Earth? Attack each other? Retreat? Then something unexpected happened. A Dominion captain broke ranks and moved his ship away from the battle. Then another. Then 5 more. They'd had enough. They were tired of dying for a strategic position that wasn't worth their lives. The Axiom fleet saw this and hesitated. If they attacked now, they'd be fighting both Earth and what remained of the Dominion fleet. The numbers didn't favor them anymore. Slowly, carefully, both fleets began to withdraw. It wasn't a formal ceasefire. It wasn't even a real peace. But the Battle of Kepler Station was over without another shot being fired, for the first time in 80 years. The war had stopped in a major engagement not because one side won, but because a third party forced both sides to quit. The galaxy took notice. If Earth could stop the Battle of Kepler Station, maybe the war itself could end. Neutral species began calling for a general ceasefire. Trade federations refused to do business with either the Axiom or Dominion until they agreed to peace talks. But not everyone wanted peace. Extremists on both sides saw this as weakness. They believed their faction could still win if they just fought harder, sacrificed more, committed everything to total victory. A week after Kepler Station, Admiral Deho received intelligence that made his blood run cold. An Axiom admiral named Corvith had gone rogue. He'd taken a fleet of 5,000 ships and was heading to Earth. His goal was simple: destroy humanity's homeworld and prove that Earth's interference would have consequences. "How long until they arrive?" Deho asked. 36 hours, the intelligence officer replied. Deho looked at the star charts. Most of Earth's fleet was scattered across the galaxy, conducting operations or supporting allied species. He could recall some of them, but not enough. Not in time that Earth would face this attack with whatever forces were already in the solar system. By his best estimate, they had maybe 1,000 ships. Against 5,000? "Send the recall order anyway," Deho said. "Every ship that can make it back, even if they arrive during the battle. And get me Captain Taiyang. It's time to defend our home." Around the galaxy, human ships received the emergency recall. Taiyang was halfway across the spiral arm. Commander Minho was on a stealth mission behind Dominion lines. Sergeant Summon's transport was evacuating. Refugees from a war zone. They all turned their ships around and jumped for Earth. Some would make it in time. Many wouldn't. But they would try. On Earth itself, billions of people looked up at the stars and waited. They knew the attack was coming. They knew the odds. But they also knew that humanity didn't give up, didn't surrender, and didn't back down. If the aliens wanted Earth, they would have to pay in blood for every meter of space. The Axiom fleet appeared near Mars like a dark cloud blotting out the stars. 5,000 warships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. Admiral Corvith had brought enough firepower to crack a planet in half. Captain Taiyang stood on the bridge of the Aurora, watching the enemy fleet organize itself. Earth's defenders numbered just over 1,000 ships now. More were coming, but they wouldn't arrive for hours. The battle would be decided long before then. All ships, Taiyang broadcast on the command channel. This is it. They came here to break us, to punish us for daring to fight back. Show them why that was a mistake. Show them what humanity does when you threaten our home. The Axiom fleet began its advance. They moved in perfect formation, shields linked together, weapons charged. They expected Earth's ships to scatter and run. That's what any sane species would do when outnumbered 5-1. But humanity had stopped being sane months ago. Attack pattern Delta, Taiyang ordered. Hit them with everything. Earth's fleet split into dozens of small groups, each one attacking from a different angle. They didn't try to match the Axiom formation. They swarmed like angry bees, focusing fire on individual ships, destroying them, then moving to the next target. The Axiom tried to adapt, but their formations were too rigid. Every time they turned to face one group of human ships, 3 more groups would hit them from behind. It was chaos, and chaos was Earth's specialty. Still, the numbers were brutal. For every Axiom ship destroyed, Earth lost 2. The human fleet was being ground down through sheer weight of numbers. Taiyang watched his tactical display fill with red markers showing destroyed Earth ships. So many good people dying. But they kept fighting. On Earth itself, Engineer Jiwan was making a desperate decision. She'd been developing an emergency defense system called Scorched Sky. It was designed as a last resort. Something to use only if Earth was about to fall. The system would convert every orbital factory, every space station, every satellite into a kinetic weapon. They would be programmed to crash into enemy ships at maximum velocity. It would destroy decades of infrastructure. It would set Earth's space industry back years, but it might save the planet. Admiral, I need authorization, Jiwan said over the secure channel. Admiral Deho looked at the battle projections. At this rate, the human fleet would be wiped out in another hour. Then the Axiom would bombard Earth unopposed. Do it, he said quietly. Activate Scorched Sky. Across Earth's orbit, thousands of structures came alive with emergency thrusters. Factory stations that had built civilian ships for a century. Communication satellites that had connected the world for decades. Research platforms where scientists had studied the stars. All of them began moving toward the battle. The Axiom fleet detected them but dismissed them as debris from destroyed ships. By the time they realized these were guided weapons, it was too late. The first wave hit like a meteor storm. A massive factory complex crashed into an Axiom battleship, the impact releasing energy equivalent to a nuclear weapon. A communications array shredded through a cruiser's shields. Satellites peppered the enemy formation like bullets. The Axiom fleet's perfect formation shattered. Ships tried to dodge the incoming structures, but there were too many. And while they were distracted, Earth's remaining warships pressed their attack, but it still wasn't enough. The Axiom had too many ships. For every one they lost, 10 more remained. And they were getting closer to Earth with every minute. Then Dr. Nari made her choice. She'd been working on something secret, something she'd hoped never to use. A weapon based on antimatter, powered by the entire output of the Lunar Research Facility's reactor. It was crude, dangerous, and would probably destroy the facility when it fired. But it would also release enough energy to wipe out everything in a 100-kilometer radius. The Axiom command ships were exactly 90 kilometers away. Dr. Kim, what are you doing? Admiral Deho shouted when he saw energy readings spike from the moon. What I have to, Nari replied. She thought about the 300 people who died when the moon was hit months ago. She thought about the 50,000 killed on Mars. She thought about her family on Earth below. Who would die if the Axiom won? "Tell them this is for the children," she said. Then she fired. The weapon was called a wave motion cannon, and it lived up to its name. A beam of pure energy concentrated antimatter reactions, creating a cascade of destruction. Lanced out from the moon, it hit the Axiom Command Fleet dead center, the flagship. A massive vessel carrying Admiral Corvith himself vanished in a flash of light. 20 more ships around it simply ceased to exist. 50 more were crippled by the blast wave. The lunar facility shook itself apart. Nari and her team evacuated in the final seconds before the reactor exploded. She watched from an escape pod as her life's work turned into an expanding ball of fire, but the Axiom command structure was gone. The fleet, suddenly leaderless, began to falter. Ships broke formation. Some tried to retreat. Others kept fighting, but without coordination. Earth's fleet pressed the advantage. They were exhausted, battered, running on fumes and desperation. But they kept fighting. Then reinforcements arrived. Commander Minho's Ghost Squadron appeared first, cloaked ships decloaking right inside the Axiom formation. They'd pushed their engines beyond safe limits to get here, and several ships were already showing signs of system failure. But they fired every weapon they had. Lieutenant Hannah's raiding group jumped in next. Then Sergeant Summon's transport, which wasn't even a warship but joined the battle anyway. Then more ships, dozens, and then hundreds, every human vessel that could possibly reach Earth in time. The tide turned. The Axiom fleet, already shaken by the loss of its command structure, began to break apart completely. Some ships surrendered. Others jumped to hyperspace and ran. A few fought to the death and were destroyed. When the last Axiom ship retreated or was destroyed, Earth's defenders floated in space, almost unable to believe they'd survived. The cost had been terrible. 2/3 of Earth's defending fleet was gone. The moon's research facility was destroyed. Hundreds of orbital structures had been sacrificed. Thousands of people were dead, but Earth still stood. News of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours. The Axiom Collective had sent their best admiral and 5,000 ships to destroy Earth, and they had failed. Humanity, outnumbered 5-1, had defended their homeworld and shattered an Axiom fleet. The psychological impact was enormous. If Earth could defeat such a force, then the Axiom weren't invincible. Neither was the Dominion. The age of the two great powers was ending within days. Both the Axiom Collective and Dominion Front sent new ambassadors to Earth, not to threaten or demand, to negotiate. Real negotiations this time. The talks were held aboard Captain Taiyang's station, the Aurora. It had survived the battle, scarred and damaged, but still operational. Ambassador Yunbora led the human delegation. The terms Earth demanded were simple. Both alien factions would withdraw all military forces from human territory immediately. They would pay reparations for every human killed. They would recognize Earth's sovereignty over a 100-light-year sphere around the solar system. And most importantly, they would end the war. "You ask us to surrender to you," the Axiom ambassador said. "No," Bora replied. "We ask you to make peace with each other. We don't want to conquer you. We want you to stop killing each other and stop killing us." "And if we refuse?" Bora looked at Admiral Deho, who sat beside her. The Admiral simply pulled up a display showing human fleet positions. Even after the Battle of Earth, humanity still had thousands of ships scattered across the galaxy. And now they had allies, dozens of species ready to join a coalition against the old powers. "Then the war continues," Bora said. "But now you're fighting everyone instead of just each other. How long do you think your empires will last?" The negotiations took 3 weeks. Both the Axiom and Dominion tried to get better terms, tried to maintain their power and influence. But the galaxy had changed. Smaller species were rebelling everywhere. Trade routes were disrupted. The economic cost of continuing the war had become unbearable. Finally, they signed the Treaty of Terra. The war would end. Both factions would withdraw from disputed territories. A new galactic council would be formed, with Earth holding a permanent seat and veto power over military actions. Laws would be established protecting civilian populations during conflicts. It wasn't perfect. It didn't fix everything, but it was peace. 5 years later, Captain Taeyang stood in his classroom at the Earth Military Academy. He'd retired from active service and now taught naval tactics to the next generation. His students were a mix of humans and aliens. The galaxy had changed that much. The key to winning isn't having the biggest ships, he told his class. It's understanding your enemy and using strategy they don't expect. Earth won because we thought differently. After class, a young Kelrith student approached him. Captain Taeyang, my people say you're a hero, that you saved the galaxy. Taeyang shook his head. Heroes are the people who died defending Earth, the engineers who sacrificed their work, the scientists who gave everything. I just survived. That evening, he visited the memorial on the moon. New domes had been built where the old ones were destroyed. The lunar research facility had been rebuilt, better than before.